Okay, it looks like it's working. It looks like we are live. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You guys, my name is DUMMYCRATIC. I'm the Inland Empire Informer. I am here to inform you what is going on. Please bear with me. It's been a very, very long day. And I just got this new camera. So I'm trying it out for the first time. And we're going to see how it looks. It's kind of high because I got a 32-inch screen that I like to use when I fly Microsoft Flight Simulator. So a lot of stuff that's going to be going on today. So again, welcome. My name is DUMMYCRATIC. I'm the Inland Empire Informer. I'm going to inform you what has been happening in the 41st District of Moreno Valley, because today we are talking about Mr. Mark Takano. That's who we're going to be talking about. So just give me a quick second. I've been going over his congressional record, and I just been doing some stuff. So just give me 1 second, and I am going to find Mr. Takano here, and so that you guys know this is who we are talking about. There he is. And we're going to go with that. And it did not come up. But anyway, okay. So Mark Takano. Mark Takano has been in office for 6 years now. No, 8 years. I think 6 years. When did he get in office? Well, I know that the year that I worked with him, I helped. That was the year he was elected. So I think that was 2012. He might be in there for 8 years now. So that's a long time. Professional politician. Now, when I worked with Mark Takano, the very thing that he says his previous opponent was doing is now exactly what he's doing. And, the hypocrisy in there is just incredible. I put up a little thing where you see that he's with former President Clinton. I'm telling you guys, pictures say 1,000 words. Says 1,000 words. One of his campaign things is, I guess it's okay to brag or be proud. He's the first openly person of color that's gay in Congress. So what? So what? What really matters is, what is he doing for the 41st District? So let's take a look. And I want you guys to remember this about Mark Takano. He authorized that Wuhan, China flight to land at Marsh Air Reserve Base. So don't forget that. So I know you guys there's a lot of Mark Takano and Dummycrats, as I call you guys that are Dummycrats, and I call the Republicans their side. I'm nonpartisan. I'm an independent. I vote a little bit of this, a little bit of that. That's what I do. So because I realize that the game is rigged. These people get their money from the same people. They do the exact same thing. They spend. You have a 2-year commitment in Congress term. For 1 year, you take a whole year to raise as much money as you can. And I keep telling people, why is Nancy Pelosi the leader of the Democrats in the House? I don't remember any legislation that Nancy's famous for. Universal health care, that's not her. Rent moratorium, that's not her. Letting people out of jail, that's not her. Do you know what she said, why she should be party leader? She said because she raises the most money. That's why she should be Speaker of the House. She raises the most money. Is that where we're at now today? And that's politics for us today. So I always try to tell people, because they say I'm not being fair, when you want to see what a congressman has done, look at their congressional record. It's a public record. It's your record. We are the boss. They are the servant. Servants, boss. Servant, boss. But for some reason, everybody's mind is it's the other way around. Even when you deal with the policeman. Servant, boss. Servant, boss. I remember the a few weeks back, before the pandemic really got really bad, a cop stopped me for driving while being black, right? And he started asking me questions. The first thing I said to him was, does the servant question the master? He didn't understand what I was talking about. then he tried to tell me something I was doing was not unlawful, but it was, I had to follow his orders. I said, well, those aren't lawful orders. And we kept arguing back and forth. You know, it's like he understood I knew my rights, and he was like, he didn't know what to do. It was a crazy situation. Make a long story short, I ended up leaving there without no incident. I mean, you know, you stopping me for what? You know, oh, yeah, I mean, he was just making up stuff. I just couldn't believe it. So anyway, but that's how it is when you're a black man in America. I am not a person of color. I am a black man. I am a specific type of person. A person of color would be somebody of mixed heritage, and you really can't tell what part they are. I do not want to be included in a group of people, because as a black person and as black people, when we are included with everybody else, nothing gets done for us. So I don't include myself in that, but that's me in particular. So let's go to Mark Takano's record, if you may. All right. I wonder how far I can go back. Okay, well, let's work our way backwards real quick. And what I'm looking for is what he's done for the 31st District. He put the Paycheck Protection Program and Healthcare Enhancement Act. He did that in April this year. It passed into suspension. He's providing for the adoption of the resolution, nothing there. Families First Coronavirus Response Act, passed but suspended. Motion to commit with instructions, a joint resolution to direct the removal of United States Armed Forces, that failed. Colorado, U.S. Freedom Act. Now remember, I'm looking for something that he's done for the Inland Empire. Providing for the custodians of the joint resolution to direct the removal of United States Armed Forces from hostilities against the Islamic Republic of Iran that have not been authorized. That passed. You know what I'm going to have to do? I'm going to have to go all the way to the beginning. So I'm going to go to the 31st page. Let's see what he's got here. One of the first things he did, and this was in, well, not the first things, but he did this in 2019, a motion to recommit with instruction humanitarian standards for individuals in Customs and Border Protection Custody Act. He voted no. The resolution passed by procedure. So, wow, he's doing stuff for people who are illegal. They aren't in this country legally, and he said no, and that's his vote. Okay, that's a good one. Okay, energy efficient, government technology. I'm looking for something specifically for the Inland Empire. 31 pages here, nothing. He's doing the Democratic line right down the middle. Nothing is being done that I can see for the 41st District. Nope, nothing. Something for tribal consultation requirements, the repeal made by subsequent, it failed. Some of the stuff that I would think is kind of questionable for the 31st District, it fails. A motion for the Coastal and Marine Economies Protection Act. Last I checked, the 41st District is nowhere near a coast. He voted nay, it failed. Amendment sought to postpone the bill from going into effect until the DOI in consultation with the Protecting and Securing Florida's Coastline Act. He voted yes, and it passed. Way to go, Mark. You're taking care of Florida. Way to go. What are you doing for us right here? Let's just keep going real quick. Nothing. Homebuyer Assistance Act of 2019, that passed. I guess that can help some people. Is it going to help people right now? We will see. Providing for consideration of the bill HR 205 to amend the Gulf of Mexico Energy Security Act of 2006 to permanently extend the moratorium on leasing in certain areas of the Gulf of Mexico. Wow, the last time I checked, Riverside in the 41st Congressional District of California is nowhere near the Gulf of Mexico. So I'm still looking for things particular to the 41st District. Let's see what Mark has to say. Nothing. He's the chairman of this. Department of Veteran Affairs Expiring Authorities Act of 2019. He voted yay. It passed. Passage suspension. So it didn't really, it just sat on it. Nothing for us. Nothing for us. He passed the National Defense Authorization Act for fiscal year 2020. That's going to pass regardless. So let's see. Nothing for us. Nothing. Okay. I'm going to get out of that. My point of what I'm trying to tell you is he's been in Congress for over 6 years. I just went through 31 pages earlier, by the way. 31 pages of things that had nothing to do with the 41st district. Who gives a shit about Florida? I mean, as an American, I give a shit, but particularly my congressman should be worrying about my district. So 31 pages of stuff and nothing in particular for the 41st district. And we're going to keep this guy in office. We are now having an economic crisis right here. We antiquated the 41st district full of warehouses. Put all our eggs in one basket. What do we do now? That's his voting record. So let me go look a little bit. Let me tell you a little bit about Mark Takano. His name is Mark Allen Takano. He was born December 10th, 1960. So he's 60 years old. He's 10 years older than I am. He's an American politician. Keyword, politician, who has been the United States representative for California's 41st Congressional District since 2013. So yeah, I was kind of a little off there. A member of the Democratic Party, Takano has served on the Riverside Community College Board, and he's a teacher for Congress. Teachers and government is a bad mix. It's almost as bad as religion and politics. They don't go together because they don't know what they're doing. Just because you're a teacher doesn't mean you're smart. You're specialized in one area, and that's it. Upon taking office, Takano became the first openly gay person of Asian descent in Congress. But he calls himself a person of color, which is fine. But do you see what happens when you group yourself with people of color? You wouldn't know he's Asian. You wouldn't know I'm Black. You wouldn't know this person's Hispanic. That's why you don't want to do that. You want to be in your own demographic. I am not biracial. I'm a Black man, period. In America, of African descent. Okay, he was born here in Riverside. His family was relocated and interned from California to a war relocation camp during World War II. He is Sensei, that is the Sansei. That is the grandson of people born in Japan who immigrated to the United States. That's something we have in common. I lived in Okinawa for a lot of years, graduated over there and everything, and here I am. He attended La Sierra High School and Alvord Unified School District, where he graduated as class valedictorian. All right. He graduated from Harvard University with a BA in government. That's the problem right there. He graduated with a BA in government. Oh my God, everything he thinks about is theory. Oh, that's the problem. Anyway, he later graduated from MFA in creative writing for the performing arts of the University of California, Riverside. Takano taught British literature in public schools for 23 years. And don't get me wrong. Teaching is a very respectable, at least at one time it was, profession. And I have nothing but respect for it. When I was a kid, I wanted to be a teacher until I realized how much they make here in the United States. Every other country, a teacher is the third highest paying career field behind a doctor and a lawyer. It becomes a teacher, not in this country. Okay, so in 1990, he ran for the seat of the representative. So he's been running for the seat to get in there since 1992. Wow. But was unable to beat Ken Calvert. Let's see. In July 2011, Takano announced he would run for the U.S. House in the newly redrawn California 41st Congressional District, established in the redistricting following the 2010 census. 5 candidates ran for the open seat. In the June 2012 open primary, John Tavagaloni a Republican, ranked first with 45% of the vote. Takano ranked second with 37%. I remember that. And we had to come from behind. In the November general election, Takano defeated him 58-42. Takano became the first openly gay member of the House who is not white. So are you saying there's a big majority of gay white men in Congress? And if there are, so what? Okay. So, let me read this real quick. In 1994, Takano defeated Raven Lopez Workman in the Democratic primary, 70% to 30. During the campaign, Republican State Assemblyman Ray Haynes outed Takano, calling him a homosexual liberal in the general election. And then, of course, he lost to Kim Calvert, 55 to 38%. So I'm of a different generation, so it doesn't bother me. I just don't. I will never understand why you have to tell people your sexual orientation. I mean, I would love to tell people how much I love women, and I do. I love women, but I don't need people to know my business, basically. But it is what it is. So that's a little bit on Mr. Takano. So let's go back here and get some more information on him. Okay. Nothing. I'm getting nothing. Okay, let's look at some of the committees and caucuses that Mr. Takano is a part of. Mark Takano, he is on the subcommittee on workforce protections. He's on the subcommittee on higher education and workforce development. Of course, he's a teacher. He should be on that. Why he is on the Veterans Affairs Committee as the chairman, I will never understand that because he has never served in the military. So I don't get it, but it is what it is, I guess. Okay, the House Committee on Veterans Affairs is responsible for reviewing veterans programs, examining current laws and reports bills and amendments to strengthen existing laws concerning veterans and the Department of Veterans Affairs, such as healthcare, disability compensation, GI Bill, education, and job training, home loan guarantees, life insurance policies, and a nationwide system of veterans cemeteries. Of course, he only addresses that when it's election time. And again, he has voted continually against veterans receiving raises and against a lot of military appropriation bills. So please do your homework on Mr. Takano. He's on the subcommittee on economic opportunity. He's on the subcommittee on health. Okay, he caucuses with the LGBT Equality Caucus, and he's the co-chair of that caucus. The Congressional LGBT Equality Caucus leads efforts in the House of Representatives to advance LGBT equality and agenda. The caucus helps coordinate proposals to end discrimination against LGBT Americans in marriage, employment, housing, education, and other areas. As one of the 6 openly LGBT NMOP members of the House, he serves as the co-chair. I'm sure we have a nice little LGBT community in the 31st district, but we have other people as well that he needs to represent. He's the Congressional Progressive Caucus. That's a joke. He's the vice chair. He's the Congressional Asian Pacific American Caucus. He's the vice chair. He's on the U.S.-Japan Friendship Commission. He's a member. Congressional Work for Warriors Caucus. Total joke. That caucus is the Congressional Work for Warriors Caucus, promotes and increases awareness of direct employment programs for service members and veterans, like California's extremely successful Work for Warriors program and South Carolina's National Guard Employment Services program, with the eventual goal of expanding and replicating these programs. There are so many veterans in the 41st district that are underemployed. It's ridiculous. He's on the Congressional Deaf Caucus. He's the co-chair. He's on the Congressional Maker Caucus. That's for machines and 3D printers and stuff like that. He's on the Congressional Battery Energy Storage Caucus. Other caucuses, man, he's on all this stuff. Let's take a look. Small Business Caucus, HIV AIDS Caucus, the Congressional Diabetes Caucus, Kidney Caucus, Alzheimer's Disease Task Force, the P3 Caucus, the Hepatitis Caucus, Wire and Wire Products Caucus, Small Brewers Caucus, Caucus on the Deadliest Cancers, Affordable Medicines Caucus, the Army Aviation Caucus, that's a joke. National Guard and Reserve Caucus, that's a joke. Veterans Jobs Caucus, that's a joke. History Caucus, Tom Lantos Human Rights Commission, that's a joke. American Sikh Congressional Caucus, that's a joke. He's on the Japan Caucus, okay, that's fine. Democratic Israeli Working Group, he's on the U.S. Philippines Friendship Caucus. He's out of Poverty Caucus, that's a joke with all the homelessness that's going on in the 41st District. The Black Men and Boys Caucus, I hated to say that, but he's on it. The International Conservation Caucus, the Congressional Automotive and Motorsports Caucus, the Congressional Caucus on Foster Youth, Baby Caucus, Humanities Caucus, Olympic and Paralympic Caucus, Renewable Energy and Efficiency Caucus, Public Transportation Caucus, and Congressional Water Caucus. Now, the 41st District is highly filled with Hispanics. If I went to Washington, I would think that I would be on caucuses that represent my district. He's not on the Hispanic caucus. He's definitely not on the Black caucus, which is a shock because the Black caucus lets anybody be a member. Yeah, that's that. Let's see what else we could find on Mr. Takano. Let's see. Let's see some news. Let's see what Mark Takano's done. He sends a letter to Mike Pence for the deaf. I guess Mike Pence insulted people of deaf. He did a Prevention of Anti-Immigration Violence Act of 2019. I told you guys about that. Urging the White House Coronavirus Task Force to implement the use of sign language interpreters during all public briefings. Well, that's a good idea, but that's common sense. But when you got an idiot in the White House, that's what we get. Let's see. I'm going to go to real quick. Excuse me. Okay, we're going to go to here. And excuse me, guys, it's been a long day. Congress members question decision to reroute flight from China to March Air Reserve Base. Let's look at that. And I know Mark's people are going to call me and stuff because, again, I did work on the campaign in 2013. So a charter plane, if you guys remember, I hate when they keep trying to sell you stuff. God, that sucks. A charter plane lands at March Air Reserve Base in Riverside, California on January 29th, 2020, with passengers evacuated from Wuhan, the Chinese city at the heart of a growing outbreak of the deadly 29 novel coronavirus. Some 200 U.S. citizens evacuated from Wuhan were met on the tarmac by emergency vehicles and 3 buses. Now, remember this. March Air Reserve Base is right in my house. Right on my doorstep. I literally can walk to March Air Reserve main gate in less than 10 minutes or 15. Give me 15 minutes. And yeah, pandemic. People possibly could be contaminated. Doesn't take a genius to say no. You're having them come to a major populated area. Not a good idea. There's my friend Dimitri K. What's up? COVID. No, I don't have no damn COVID. So, yeah, so he comes over here. Now, when this incident happened about a week or two afterwards, he had a kickoff campaign or something. Dr. Grace Williams and Aja Smith, both opponents, came together to let you guys know what a mistake that this man had made. And as we see right now, what is going on? Big mistake. Big mistake. And it could be a whole lot worse. Okay? So So let me read this for you guys. 2 local Congress members Saturday formally asked the U.S. Air Force Secretary for more information about the decision to reroute a plane carrying 195 passengers from Wuhan, China, where the deadly coronavirus was first detected, to March Air Reserve Base near Moreno Valley, not near Moreno Valley, in Moreno Valley, where the evacuees remained under federal quarantine orders. The plane, originally set to arrive at Ontario, was rerouted to March Air Reserve Base and landed at 8:11 a.m. Wednesday. They could have sent that plane to the old Georgia Air Force Base, which is Victorville, the logistics center out in Victorville, where they're parking a bunch of planes now. The letter from Representative Mark Takano and Representative Norma Torres said Congress was kept in the dark about the last-minute decision to redirect the plane and has yet to receive any contact or update from the U.S. Department of Defense on the flight or any future plans to repatriate additional individuals at March Air Reserve Base. We are deeply troubled by this lack of transparency. Any unilateral decision in this regard has had and will continue to have lasting impacts on the employees and citizens at March, as well as members of the surrounding community, they said. Wow, Mr. Takano, you're just thinking about that. On Friday, Takano said in a statement that his office was not consulted on the decision to utilize March Air Reserve Base as a repatriation center for this flight, which is not true. Torres previously called the decision ill-conceived and called for an investigation by the Inspector Generals for the U.S. Health and Human Services and the State Departments. Ken Calvert of Corona and Takano echoed the call for an investigation. Some local officials also said they were not kept in the loop about the decision. And he made it this big old letter and it's a bunch of bullshit. And yeah, the passengers arrived, blah, blah, blah. So you guys know the story. Seven years in office. He's up for re-election right now. He's doing stuff for Florida. He's doing stuff for the Democratic Party. He's doing stuff for everybody else but his own district. Could somebody please name anything Mr. Takano has done in the 41st district in 7 years? I'd like to know. I mean, I know there's a few things, that in general, but, oh, well, he was with the Obama, Restore America Act. Everybody got that. We're talking specific to the 41st district. All these warehouses, Mr. Takano, what is your stand on all the warehouses? Are you going to continually support this? Who are your donors, Mr. Takano? Would we be surprised to know that a lot of these developers have donated to your campaign? Would that be something that we would need to investigate? If you guys are listening to this and you want a change, a lot of you guys in the Inland Empire have lost your jobs. Your jobs are gone. They're not going to ask you back because Amazon's going to bring in the robots and you're not going to come back, especially if you're a lower tiered type person. If you have a mom and pop store in the 41st district, where's the money? A lot of these guys are closing their doors. It's a damn shame. What is your statement, Mr. Takano? You've been silent. You've been silent, servant. I want answers. You're supposed to go up there and bring us answers. Bring us the bacon. This is California, damn it. Mr. Takano, you got an answer? I got a better question for you, Mr. Takano. As a black man in your district, with the Riverside Police Department, with their reputation of police brutality against black citizens, what have you done in regards to police brutality toward black people? I'm talking about black people. What policies and rules have you proposed in Congress to help black people from getting shot for just being black? You see armed people, white people in Michigan, and I'm just using color to differentiate the type of citizen. A white person goes up to the state capitol in Michigan, fully armed, which their law says that they can do. Police aren't even worried. They're not even afraid. But a black person in California is walking around and gets shot down in the street, and no evidence of a gun, no evidence of anything, and the policeman shoots him down. What legislation have you suggested that is going to protect your constituents here in the 41st District? The Riverside Police Department and the Riverside Sheriff's Department has an aggressive tendency to go up against black citizens. What's your proposal for that? I don't want to hear about the gay people. I don't want to hear about it specifically for black. What is your proposal to bring up black unemployment, Mr. Takano? What about that? What is your proposal in keeping jobs and possibly reopening up March Air Reserve Base, which brings in, when it was an active base, $65 million annually to the local economy? What are your proposals on that? Anything? What is your proposal in Congress, Mr. Takano, in regards to rent moratorium and mortgage freezing, as well as credit at the credit bureaus? What is your proposal for that, Mr. Takano? I'm just saying. So you guys, we have an election coming up. Mr. Takano's opponent is Republican Aja Smith. If you guys want a change, I'm not telling you who to vote for. You vote your conscience, you vote your interests. 7 years, Mark Takano. This will be his 8th year coming in the next year. Term limits. The only way we could do term limits is for us to say enough is enough and let's get some new blood in there. I'm a Generation Xer. Mr. Takano is the tail end of the baby boomers. How do we expect somebody who was born in the 20th century to have ideas for the 21st century? Millennials, stand up. Stand up, millennials. We need new leadership. These people are all out of ideas. All out of ideas. We need new leadership. The only way we can get term limits is we show them term limits, since they don't want to put term limits on themselves. Time for a change, you guys. Time for a change. Please do your research on Mark Takano. Please, please, please vote your conscience. Look around you. Things are not going to be the same after this COVID thing is, and it's not going to be over. The Inland Empire is going to be devastated. Devastated. We got all these young people that are unemployed. Mr. Takano is running the DUMMYCRATIC agenda. He has, I can't find anything specific to the 41st District. Why would we keep somebody in office that isn't doing anything for his district? That's for you guys to think about. I'm Donovan Sadiq. Tomorrow, I'm going to be doing Jose Medina. You guys introduce him, let him know he's out there. Mark Takano's picture was supposed to be behind me, but for some reason, it didn't click on. So there it is. Mr. Medina, he's in the assembly. I believe he's up for election this year. And we're going to look at him. Richard Roth, the senator, we're going to look at him. Everybody that's running that's particular to this area, we are going to give you guys go, because it's really sad that a lot of people don't even know, who's running and what and all this other stuff. Voting a Democratic ticket, that's stupid. Also want to remind you guys, look at that Biden lift every voice and sing bullshit that he put out. Total bullshit. Total bullshit. The only people that are going to vote for that is the black baby boomers, because they got theirs. They're retired. They've got 2 pensions. 2 pensions. Big old house. They're raising their badass grandkids that ain't shit. That's what's happening, you guys. So I'm just introducing these guys to you, but Mr. Chicano, your chief of staff, any of your people, you guys know where to find me. I'm not hard to find. You're more than welcome to come on the podcast. You guys tune into the podcast as well. You're more than happy to come on the show and tell us your platform or email me. And I will read what you've done for the 41st District. But according to Google, it hasn't been much. Donovan Sadiq, I'm the Inland Empire Informer. Just been informed.